So let me get all this. Everybody's phone's on vibrato, right?
I turned mine off. I'm done. Hey, dog.
I'm gonna turn my ringer on just to piss you off.
Loud as fuck. God damn, is it the dog?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
He's beating the hell out of me.
Max, go to bed. Get on.
Get on, get.
Well, hey guys, what's going on here? River Sullivan coming at you right here, right now. Pre-recorded for your live listening pleasure for another episode of This Evening Tonight. With me here yet again, my semi-permanent, lifelong silver-foxed co-host himself, Scott! Scott. Manley. Hi, Scott. How are you?
I think I just peed a little.
Yeah, I think I did too. We've had a lot of coffee, and we're going to talk about that here in just a second. But right now, let's get to our guest for today's show of Season 2, Episode 19 of This Evening Tonight. A man from unknown places in this world who lived a very traveled life, to say the least, and to keep it on the down low, to keep the Navy SEALs from coming in after me. A man that I have now come to introduce as another member of our extended family here of brothers from other mothers. So without further ado, I introduce you into tonight's guest, Mr. Flint Hollow. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Blown eardrums.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to. That is a huge spike in the waveform. And I'm hoping I didn't break anything on that one. Didn't know I could go that high in soprano, but...
Well, we'll find out when the diodes are broken.
Yeah, I hope. No, we're good.
All right.
So to talk about here a little bit, to get this show started as to why the hell it is that I am so highly caffeinated and in such a great mood, we did make a comeback here to a coffee that we've drank before on the show. It's another one of the PlayerOneCoffee.com's works, known as the Neebs Gaming World Peace Edition Medium Roast. It's the official coffee of the folks at Neebs Gaming. Check them out on YouTube for a good time. A meticulous Colombian and Guatemalan blend, nutty upper tones with clever traces of chocolate. Perfect for a day of riding dinosaurs with friends. I tried making this at in a normal coffee pot where Mr. Flint was at. And what is it you said about the coffee?
Man, it tasted like tea.
It looked like tea. It was
rather
sad.
horrible.
It was a very sad cup. But now we did it in the French press, and I'm guessing your thoughts on it have changed.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, this is really good. You can definitely taste all the notes that you described.
If you look at it in the light, you actually see some of the oils coming to the top, too.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Oh, yeah, you're correct.
Oh, fucking sweet. Chocolatey Jesus.
My hands are shaking.
That's phenomenal. That's exactly what we're going for. I'm barely hanging on right now.
Don't worry, it's going to happen.
So, all right, guys, it is that time here in the show for your week behind coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak update using the Johns Hopkins University COVID-19 tracker. So currently we're at total confirmed cases of 3.4 million, 3,476,121 total confirmed cases. Total deaths, we are at 245,531, with the total test results so far in the United States of those tested, 6,816,347. Now, these numbers as are of May the 3rd, 2020, so these numbers, again, will be a week behind. Any thoughts on the numbers right now? Because it is looking good to me. I mean, yes, there's been a lot of deaths, and I do not agree with that, but total confirmed 3.4 million. If you just go with the confirmed cases versus the positive,
I say open her back up.
Yeah.
Survival of the fittest.
Now, what is it in this glorious state we're in of West Virginia? Big Jim's talking about opening up tomorrow on the 4th.
Oh, man, I can't watch him on TV.
You know what I say, Jim? May the 4th be with you.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
This is the way.
This is the way.
And that is all for your Corona COVID-19 outbreak update here on This Evening Tonight. Like I said before, we try to stay as briefly as possible as we can on the numbers so we don't end up just beating this dead horse.
It's great. I can't even talk right now. It's so good. Second cup. I'm ready to take over a plantation of coffee. You know what I'm saying?
Be the coffee czar.
Yeah, coffee czar, man.
What would be your drug plantation, your coffee plantation owner name?
It is a drug, so.
Yeah. The last legal stimulant out there.
I mean, does a coffee plantation czar, does he need a name?
I mean, they've always been known, like El Jefe or El Sueño.
I don't know, man.
I mean, this is what, Guatemalan? I think it was Guatemalan.
Pollo Loco.
Guatemalan and Colombian.
El Gato Negro.
The black cat.
The black cat.
Yo soy el pollo loco. I am the crazy chicken.
Oh, man, that's a good one. Yeah, mine would be El Gato Negro. Because nobody wants to cross the black cat.
Black cat crosses you.
You better make a cross on your windshield if you're driving.
I always thought it was like you lick your finger and make like 3 X's.
I don't know.
That's what my mom always did growing up. Like black cat would run across the road. She'd lick her thumb or index and make 3 X's on the windshield and then wonder why she couldn't see out the window.
Yeah, some real shit, man. I still do it to this day. I make a cross on my windshield and one crosses me.
Why don't we just hang a cross in the rearview mirror?
And no, I ain't doing it. Moving on.
Yeah, so moving on. Flint is another one of the many people that have been on this show that is a veteran of the United States Armed Forces. Would you like to talk a little bit about that?
I mean, like my experiences or what part of the?
I mean, whatever it is you want to tell.
I mean, you're the host.
I am the host. I'm just here to make sure that your story gets carried over into the public domain and is done with class and respect.
I mean, River, you asked me the questions. I'll be more than happy to answer them to the best of my ability.
All right. Well, tell me a little bit about it. Wherever you want to start, it's on you.
I mean, I guess it all starts with lineage. I mean, some of my family were in the great, wonderful Marine Corps, and I took it upon myself to carry that on. So,
when did you first join?
Early 2000s.
Myself as well. Not the Marine Corps, but the Air Force, as many people know.
Right. I won't hold it against you.
I appreciate that.
Right. I look back now, I really should have joined the Air Force.
Yeah.
You know?
And we were just talking earlier where I said, man, I would much rather have been a tanker.
Yeah, it's, you know.
I was told they're similar people to me, that we're just not all there.
It's true, man. Tanker's a totally different breed, no matter what branch.
We have that mutual track hack friend of ours that's over in Syria right now.
Oh, man.
I fit in well with his people.
I love that dude. I want to have his babies.
Chadley, if you're listening, which I'm pretty sure you are, come back to us.
I miss you, brother.
So much.
Yeah.
You want to say anything, Scott?
Yeah, and I'm
A
just.
little shout out to our friend out there.
I'm not feeling it today.
Oh, well, you heard it. Scott says,
Hey, buddy.
fuck you.
Yeah, that's what I got out of it.
Keep on keeping on.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Syria is a garden. Dig it.
Yeah, Syria.
Yeah, I heard he's might not be back till next year.
Oh, fuck.
Silver lining. Heck of a paycheck.
Yes. He just had his second kid.
He's going to buy a house when he gets
last
back, probably.
October. I mean, they just bought that one house they got, which is real nice.
Real nice.
Real nice. Has that radiant floor heat stuff. Never got hooked up, but I'm pretty sure when he gets back, he's going to take that money to the bank and then to the Lowe's and then to some people to probably just install it.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that, man. I'd have someone do that work for me.
I think he said it was already installed. It's just like the water line hookups and everything were never completed.
Right. Back on track, right?
Yeah, wherever.
Yeah. So, you know, there's like 2 types of Marines, right? You got your Paris Island Marines, you got your Hollywood Marines, San Diego type.
So those are the 2 different areas of basic that...
Boot camp. Get it right.
Paris Island's supposed to be the OG, right?
Yeah, it is the OG. But, like, you got your, you got female Marines there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's really no difference. Marine's a Marine at the end of the day. So I'm a Paris Island Marine because I'm on this side of the Mississippi. That's how it's separated, Mississippi. If you're on the eastern side, you go to Paris Island. If you're on the western side, you go to San Diego. So that's where I'm at, man.
So what are the differences, though, that are held between the Paris Island versus your Hollywood Marine?
I don't really know, man. I guess it's sand fleas and different type of mountains. That's what separates us.
Okay. Yeah, we only had our basic was Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, which is
it's hot.
It's a fucking it was hot. I went in basic in July. July 15th is when I went in, and it's a different kind of heat. I'm not mad at that kind of heat, though, because it was a dry heat. I'll take that over like a Louisiana 3,000% humidity heat with alligators and mosquitoes. I'll take the dry heat with the fire ants and a scorpion and some spiders.
That's a true statement. Very true. I flew into Texas once, and I got off on the tarmac, man, and I was like, oh, man, this is brutal.
You ever get we called it, when I was in basic down there, we called it the clean sweat. Like you get showered, right? It was hot as fuck. Your day's over. You're showering up. And then you get out, you wipe off. And then you just like, you're still wet. You know you wipe down, but you're like sweating because it's still hot. We called it the clean sweat.
No, I never experienced that in my life. I might have, but we never called it that.
I didn't know. I don't know if that was the term that we called it. That's just what I had called it.
Right.
But
I think wherever I went in all my years and like, you know, my four short years, it was nothing but humidity and hatred. You know, that's how we termed it up as, you know, every spring break that we spent overseas, you know, it's just straight humidity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kuwait was a lot like that.
I heard Kuwait's real nice for my branch.
I'm sure.
I know they have like, there's like a
Permanent
Burger King and a Subway over there. I know like Marines and stuff go to Kuwait for like an R&R from wherever they're else like forward deployed at.
I wish I could tell you.
There's a Chili's.
What?
Legit Chili's.
You know, things have changed a lot, I hear.
Look, I had a buddy call me when I was in, and he deployed to Kuwait,
Mm-hmm.
and he called a buddy of mine on the phone, and I was there, and he's like, hey, man, how's it going over there? He's like, oh, man, I'm just taking it day by day, you know, just day by day, just surviving. And then you heard another guy that we had in the background. He's like, man, shut the fuck up. We're going to Chili's. You know, like, it's like the pool just opened up. I'm like, what's wrong?
That must have been glorious, having a pool, chili, Subway. Because I can remember being there in like 03, prior invasion, setting up like Camp Victory and stuff, and it was GP tents.
Oh, God.
You know, and getting all that ready before the initial push, and there was nothing there. You know, and we didn't have like...
Anything nice?
Nothing nice. We had porta potties, and they didn't have anybody to, you know, clean them. and you know, be shit mountains in them.
Nice.
And I can remember a sandstorm came through, and one of our buddies was in there, and I shit you not, the sandstorm knocked over his shitter.
Magic.
It was magic. He was a Smurf covered in shit.
Had a buddy fucking sorry.
Just flashbacks?
Nah, when we start talking about stuff like that, it just brings out your base level vocabulary. But
it does. You can use it for a verb.
We rolled back into camp one day, and you know, like always, you know, if we were below like say 3/4, we'd always go refuel. And so, in our camp, it was pretty well built up. It was paved roads, but along with those paved roads, they had legit manhole covers, like sewers. Yeah.
Well, once again, what is that?
So he's ground guiding the whole convoy back to the fuel point when he just disappears. You come back up out of there from the chest down, just drenched in brown goo. It was amazing.
That's beautiful. Poor guy.
Oh, you could probably claim something from the VA for that.
I mean, people claim everything, you know, even guys that never left the base, man. It's the story, man. They make guys that have legitimate problems. They make it tough for them at the VA to get their actual disability.
True.
That's like with the issues that I had in my service, I still don't claim it. Like I was just raised, the way I was raised was, can you walk? Yep. Can you work? Yep. You're not injured. You're not disabled. Like, there are too many people for me. Like, I know people that are out there that need it. I'm not going to clog up the system more if I got some menial physical complaint or some mental issues. But unless you actually really need it, in my opinion, it's just, you're not going to see me go get it.
Right. I can respect that.
Because there's other people that deserve it more.
Right.
Like, I have a brother. He was 2-time combat deployment. He got messed up over there. He got 90% disability because I believe he broke like both of his ankles, broken arm, like got messed up over there. Like, and like he had some issues in the head from it that he's still coping from.
Right.
Like, that dude needed the money just to, you know, okay, money can't buy you happiness, but it sure as fuck helps.
You're right. It does. I mean, The VA's there for a reason, but a lot of veterans from our era, they abuse it. Mm-hmm. They research it. The internet is a very bad tool.
I knew guys that were getting 30, 40% because they had back pain.
Right.
Or headaches.
It's
like apparently they have a hard time proving like those things. They have a hard time gauging pain.
They do. And like if let's say you have a legitimate issue, sometimes it's hard to get it. To get the disability because of those guys that are claiming false statements. Mm-hmm. It's a horrible.
And then you get people with a legitimate issue trying to get in there, and they go, "Oh, he's probably another faker. He's really just laying it on."
Right.
So we're going to make you jump through hoops because we made too many of the other hoopties go through there, and we gave them money. It's it's the same old adage of too many people, like a few people, just messing it up for the rest of us.
Yep. And you get a VA hospital, man. I could sit there like I wish I had a tree blind. Like it's like going to Walmart. Realistically, sit there all day and just watch them. Yeah. You're like, oh, look at that guy. Oh man, that is beautiful. Then you watch him when he gets to the parking lot. You're like, the walker goes away. Dude stands straight up, and you're like, oh man, that's garbage.
So okay, here's a question then. Stolen valor.
Oh man,
why you gotta bring it up?
I don't know if this is a thing, and if it's not, I believe it should be, so I'll pose the question to
Stolen Valor Act.
So with the Stolen Valor Act, should that apply to the people that are gaming the VA system?
No, that should just be straight up fraud.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like we could tack that on, though. Look, I get it. I mean, I'm in probably one of the most well-equipped, well-funded branches that there was in the Air Force. But I went through our little 6.5-week basic and my 3-month or so tech school, and then six years or so active duty. I didn't get to go out and see a bunch of combat and live war stories like a lot of people that have. And I'm not going to, I used to hate myself for that because I didn't get to go over and do my part. Like, I was one of those guys, I signed up. I saw the towers get hit and signed up. I was like, I'm going over there. And went, like I told you, Flint, I went worldwide deployable. We called it Code 88.
Right.
Nothing. You were guaranteed at least Korea within 18 months. Nothing.
I look back, man, through combat pumps in under 4 years. And it weighs heavy on an individual, especially being in your teens. You don't really get to live life at the end of the day. And part of me says, I want to take it all back and, not be combat deployable.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't take any of it back. But I really wish.
Well, for all the experiences that we've all had in our life, I feel that, like I told you earlier, I didn't get to go over there, but I'm grateful for the experiences that I had, even though it was condemned to 6 years of continental servitude. I played the hand I was dealt.
Right.
And it took a lot of other veterans, and it was that Earl Granville was a combat wounded vet that runs with that Oscar Mike Foundation. He told me that too. Like, there's a lot of guys, a lot of them always told me, you played the hand you were dealt. You served.
Right, you did. But we always need that guy that's stateside to do what you did.
I know, but for a long time, I felt like I'm just a guy back at base making sandwiches while everybody else was away. I mean, I know I had a part to play.
Right.
But anyway, let's swing back to this. Okay, so I mean, I'm talking about the guys that didn't even make it through boot, that shammed it up and just acted like they did a bunch of shit, but they didn't. So for that Stolen Valor Act, I feel like there has to be some kind of repercussion for that. I mean, is there any repercussion for Stolen Valor? Really?
I mean, I've never really looked into the Stolen Valor Act. I really haven't.
I want to just pull it up real quick.
I don't really think there is, other than just maybe a pretty brutal beating, but
I think there actually is, there's maybe jail time. I think there is something to the legal side of it.
I've got to the point where I really don't even care anymore. I mean, it's sad when you see someone like that deceive the general public and you get a few niceties from them, but a vet can spot them.
It's very true.
Anybody that spent over 6 months in the military.
Have you ever seen the video compilations of the Stolen Valor people?
Right. I can't do it with any other branch of the service, but I can do it with a Marine Corps uniform all day long.
Well, I mean, there's certain ones though that I've seen in the videos that are universal.
Right.
You see a guy wearing 3 up, 3 down, but he's got lieutenant's bars on as well. Did a giveaway.
Or what about the one that wore the flag right on the middle of his chest?
Like one guy had like a trident, and then he was like, "Oh, you're a Navy SEAL and you're a combat refueler." What is?
See, I don't get. I mean, I guess if you're out for attention or a discount or somebody to shake your hand, but I don't know where that would be desirable. I don't like.
A lot of people use it to, one, like you said, for a discount on something, or to have some people look up to them because they didn't do something in their life that they wanted to do. So then they just live up to that, or try to live up to that to get fucking chicks or dudes or whatever. Like they try to use that. Like, I mean, how many? I can't tell you how many of these videos. It's probably 5 or 6 that I'd seen of people that they go to their church and they're full, in quotes, Class A. Like they go and they're dressed to the nines with like 5 branches worth of shit on. And so, their whole church congregation is just, oh man, little what's his face is serving us. God bless you. We keep you safe. Like people love that. People love that.
See, I hate
that attention.
Like I don't know. Like I can't speak for the rest of all the veterans, but like I hate that kind of attention. It just makes me really uncomfortable.
People want to be a hero.
I just wanted to be a regular dude when I was in, man. Mm-hmm. I can remember coming back off the invasion, and we landed in North Carolina. And there were people lined up when we got off at, a certain military base. There was generals and people like that, and they're like, welcome home, blah, 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 saying like hero and warrior, obviously devil dog. And I'm like, I didn't do anything that anybody else in my shoes, boots, wouldn't did.
I got spit on.
That's crazy. I would have
by somebody, but it was an older lady, comfortably in her 60s, if not 70s.
Oh, it would make sense. Think about it.
Yeah, she's a boomer.
It's that Jane Fonda era.
Yeah, I mean, this was a thing. Like, if I'd run into me or had seen that, because I had just turned 19, I was fresh out of boot, fresh out of tech school, and was just getting off the plane to my first duty station. Get off the plane, and it was just baby killer.
Wow.
Like, I didn't do anything.
I thought that didn't even happen anymore.
I just got in. Like, I'm just like, I looked at, I'm like, what? I just, what? I was stunned, man. Like, not enough training in the world can prepare you for that.
See, that's where.
And I just let it slide off my shoulder, and even, like, it hit me like right around there. But
that's why I'm so hesitant to talk about like my military experience, and like what you really need to understand in your situation is anything I did, I view as, while like I'm proud of what I've done. Mm-hmm. Anybody could have done it. Like if they really put in the position and determined, hey, this is what I'm going to do. It was nothing really super complicated. You know what I mean? Like if you have that motivation and that's the situation you're placed in, anybody could do it.
When I had joined up and I was still in high school, I was on that delayed entry till I graduated. I was working at that Subway restaurant right up the road here. And there was this old Marine. His name was Dale, I believe his name was, Dale. He'd talk with me every time. We'd always just BS when he'd order a sandwich. We'd talk a little bit. And he worded it the best way I've ever heard anybody word like active duty to me. He said, look, man, you get through basic, they yell at you. That's not what the military is. He said, that's at one time in your life, that's your price of the ticket. That's your price of admission. Get yelled at, get beat up a little bit, do whatever. Go to your job training. You get trained. So it's like pretty much you went from like a angry kindergarten to what he called it. It was like this big community college. He said you get out and then you graduate from that. And guess what? It's just like working a job, except you don't really get to take a sick day.
Yeah, it's true. That's a pretty good analogy.
I was like, okay. And I didn't believe him until I went through it. And thinking back on it now, I was like, man, thank you, Dale. I don't know if Dale's still alive or if you're still listening or if you're listening at all. Thank you.
But that also goes with like what your job was, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, some jobs are different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like the back office jobs, like if you were like a E3 in accounting,
hey,
I can't make it into work today. Okay, well, the numbers will take care of itself.
It's like, hey, Bob, how are you doing today? I'm pretty good. But, it's like when I tell like stories, I always try to tell the funny story.
Because nobody wants to hear the boring story.
No. I don't tell them like the gore. I tell them the story, but hey, man, I watched this dude jump off the third deck in the barracks. Thought he could make it through this tree. Nah, that dude was pancaked, drunk as hell.
I tell you, when I was in basic, we had a guy apparently do cocaine. 3 days before, or like the day before he went.
Solid life decision.
3 days in, withdrawal hits.
Oh.
We're all sitting on the floor in like this day room getting lectured about some shit. And he's like spinning around in circles, sitting down like he was like an auctioneer got touched by the spirit. And like I watch as my drill sergeant, Staff Sergeant Nixon was his name. He's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" Like they always had that burnout, they yell all the time voice. And he's like, so fast forward in about 30 seconds, drill's already flipped out. He like this kid's just freaking the fuck out. Scoops him up. Drags him down the hallway, and we're all just sitting in there like Anne Frank hiding from the Germans. And all you hear is bam, pass, bunch of shit crashing, and then this kid screaming for his life, and then they drag him out of there, and then we didn't see him again.
Oh, well, it makes sense. I mean,
I was like, huh.
We had one of those also. I think about every training class has one of those.
I'm pretty sure they just let him like wash out permanently because the rumor mill was they were just going to like, all right, we're going to wash you the fuck out, and you don't say shit. Because I'm pretty sure they might have put hands on him.
No, that never happens.
Never. I mean,
man.
allegedly, hypothetically, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
that, you know what, man?
they let him wash out, or they were going to call MPs.
Mothers of America, man. That's all I gotta say.
Look, if your kid makes it to the point where Uncle Sam is trying to train you to do a job, and Uncle Sam still has to be your parent, there was a break in the chain of communication and parentage or parental. I don't know what. Parental control. I don't know what the fuck you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
parenting.
Yeah.
Yeah, parenting. That's the word.
Right here.
Coffee.
Got you.
Woo!
Yeah. I mean, Uncle Sam invests a lot of money in us to make us what we are. I know that sounds horrible.
Well, average basic training is back then. It was 10 years ago. Was $25,000 to $35,000 per soldier. Now, a military working dog, $250,000 per dog just to train him up.
Yeah.
Those are some smart dogs, though.
Well, and then you got to think, like, not the dogs. Then you got to think your specialized training.
Yeah, specialized training. $25,000 just for basic.
Right.
I think that was to feed us, clothe us,
Our
house
food
us.
is absolutely horrible.
I
Good
can't
Lord.
say shit. I was Air Force man. I didn't mind the food.
Dude, I used to love going to Air Force chow halls.
Anytime they ran out of something, if you ever had it was like beef raviolis. That was because they ran out of whatever the primary menu item was. That was the fallback.
Are you serious?
It was like a 5-gallon can of beef raviolis.
Really? I thought that was just a staple.
I mean, it was because they always ran out of shit.
That's crazy.
I was like, ooh, ravioli. Like, yeah, it's because we're out. Like, we're
Damn.
supposed to be having, beef goulash today.
Like our staple in the chow halls was like chili mac.
Yakisoba.
Yeah. Oh,
Love me some yakisoba.
I'd be like, oh, chili mac, sweet. Shit, I've had this for the last like 3 years.
Look, I had KP at basic, and that was like a rotation. Like, you did it like 1 week out of the 6.5 or so you were there. I loved it.
Yeah, we had it.
Because
had
it was any time between chows when you were cleaning, you're done cleaning, they were like, go, there's ice cream over there. Go eat it. I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, we ate all day is all I did on like this 2-3 days we had a KP.
Just over there crying in the
You
cookies and cream.
Clean, you serve. No, it was the Toll House, or it was like the Nestle's Toll House or whatever, that big ice cream cookie.
Oh,
That chocolate chip with the inch of
once
vanilla in the
again,
middle.
Air Force.
Yes, sir.
See, back when the Marine Corps had Team Week, they don't have it anymore in boot camp. We had Team Week because they would do like competitions. Listen, we were the worst platoon out there. We were good at one thing, and that was like
Fucking up.
yeah, and getting beat up. And we could like beat anybody up, but we didn't win anything.
Yeah.
So we had to go to like the rifle range, chow hall. And that's where we went, man. And the females came through, and our drill instructor was like, don't look at them. When they come through, they are savages. And I'm going to tell you something, man. They were savages. And it was pretty gangster. That's all.
Who are these guys?
What? The female Marines.
Oh,
They were straight savages when they came through, man. Like when we came through, we didn't eat salads or anything. They got everything. And we had to give them like a special meal because it was higher in protein and stuff like that's what they said. I don't know. They could have been lying to me. I don't know. Listen, man, when I was in boot camp, I was convinced that place was patrolled. Coffee. Patrolled by like alligators with lasers on their head. And that island was huge. But Paris Island's like literally like a mile big.
look, when I went to my tech school, we there was at one point, because my tech training was also on Lackland. At a few weeks into it, or like a month or so into it, we got sent to an Army outpost, Camp Bullis, which is like down in like the woods and shit of Texas. It was where they train you to fight the Chinese in the woods, and then you just go to like Iraq or something in a desert. But They put us in these things, they called them the Hutmans. And it was like a trailer shell. It had walls and a door and like a couple windows. And then you open it up and it's just like a shell. There's just stud work. There's nothing. It's just a slab and a bunch of cots. Whatever. I didn't mind it. But everybody, I remember, would try to sneak back. Like the smokers, I hadn't started smoking at that time. But I would go out and hang out with some of the smokers and occasionally try to bum a cigarette. Didn't agree with me at the time. I learned to adjust. But these guys would be out back smoking, and then at the back side, it was just miles and miles of open field where they do land nav and Russian roll drills. Well, you just hear, put that out. And everybody would freeze. These instructors would pull all-nighters. They had like a rotating shift. These guys would be in fucking ghillie suits with like NVGs on and just come out of the field.
What the hell?
And they'd just be like, put out the goddamn cigarette. What building are you in? Be like, oh, shit. Because they'd find out what building the troop would be in, and then they'd smoke his whole squad in the morning. Like, you want to smoke tonight? Don't worry, we'll smoke in the morning.
Man, I'd be lying. I'd be like, oh, I'm out of the fourth hut to the left.
Why don't you just crack a window?
Have you smoked before? You know that smell stays around everything.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, you're right. That's why when you're in the field, man, you put it in your magazine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
We used to do
you're right.
the field smoke. You get a Pepsi can or something. You light it, shove it down in the empty cavity of the empty can, and then smoke it that way. It was so you could smoke
Who takes a soda to the field?
I'm just saying, like a can. Some kind of... Again, Air Force.
Combat Pepsi.
Boom, boom, Wild Tiger, something.
Yeah,
like
man.
You like my new holster? It's Molly.
Oh, man.
I'm saying you'd use a can or whatever, and you could smoke like that. When I was stationed in Montana, like I could bring shit like that because it was technically an on-base installation that I had to go to work.
Oh, man. That would have been a life.
Oh, it was nice, except for the winter when it was like 9 months out of the year at 40 below without the wind chill. You're on fucking Planet Hoth from Star Wars.
Words.
I've had the frostbite.
You'd have to crawl up inside of a stinking ass animal, man.
It may smell bad, kid, but it'll keep you warm.
You didn't have a lightsaber, though.
I had a Leatherman.
It's not a lightsaber.
Shit, back then it was. My MOS was famous for one thing. They said they give you this Leatherman or this SOG multi-tool, and they're like, you could put two guys in a room with no doors and seams and whatever, and like an anvil. And within 3 hours, they have taken that Leatherman or SOG and just stripped out this anvil down to its atoms. And both these guys will have airtight statements as to how they had nothing to do with it. I may or may not have taken apart an entire steering column from a Chevy Tahoe years ago, just out of boredom, and then put it all back together. And it didn't work. And I had an airtight statement saying, I don't know what happened.
Very well, then. But back to Stolen Valor. Listen.
Okay, so real quick, I pulled up the Stolen Valor Act. This actually was only enacted back in 2013. The Stolen Valor Act of 2013 was signed by President Barack Obama on June 3rd, 2013. The act makes it a federal crime to fraudulently claim to be a recipient of certain military decorations or medals in order to obtain money, property, or other tangible benefit.
So, like, what are the awards?
That was the quick lowdown.
I'm sure there was some false Medal of Honor,
Oh,
Bronze
yeah.
Star, Silver Star, Purple Heart.
Oh, there's a lot of things in this act. Granting more authority to federal law enforcement officers, broadening the law to cover false claims, whereas previously an overt act had to be committed, covering the mailing and shipping of medals, and protecting the reputation and meaning of military heroism medals. It's a bunch of legal standings. There's a apparent legacy to it. It doesn't really have a lot per the Wikipedia.
We can go in there and change that, but anyway.
True. So if you had to enact a change or a punishment to the Stolen Valor Act of 2013, what would yours be, Flint?
Oh, man. You know, that's pretty heavy. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't really agree with these dudes.
Welcome to the room.
Yeah, I don't
Expand your mind.
Yeah, I don't really agree with these dudes that steal Stolen Valor. Let's just go with, like, these dudes that want to wear the Purple Heart.
Okay.
So, recipients of the Purple Heart, let's say they haven't died in combat, you know, till we see the brothers in Valhalla that have passed away, right? So with receiving of the Purple Heart, that comes with some pain, right? I think these guys should be subjected to the pain of receiving said Purple Heart.
Eye for an eye.
Tooth for a tooth, right?
This is the way.
This is the way. That's where I'm at with that.
So if they say, like somebody fraudulently says, well, I got this Purple Heart because I got shot in combat. Where'd you get shot? Your shoulder? Okay.
Exactly.
You earned it. Keep the Purple Heart, sir.
Good on you.
Yeah, but you're paying for the medical bills.
Yeah. That's where I'm at on that
What
one.
about you, Scott?
I'm just beyond Karen. Like, I know that's. I know that's.
Wait. What about Karen? You're beyond Karen.
I'm behind Karen.
Mm.
No, like, I understand to say that kind of. I don't mean to disrespect anybody that's ever received one, and had to deal with that. But sometimes you just get to that point where you're just like, you can't fix stupid. You know what I mean?
But I'm saying if you were in the power to enact a change to it.
They would definitely be doing some jail time, but that's a pretty good idea too.
Yeah.
Eye for an eye thing.
I do like it.
I'm down with the jail time too. Not gonna lie.
Some would call it draconian, or in the words of Dave Chappelle, modern problems require modern solutions.
I mean, that some people would say it's not a serious enough offense, but that relates directly to national security, I believe. And the
You gotta
the esprit de corps of the military.
Yeah, you gotta look at the guys that have went out there and got like the Purple Heart, the Bronze Star, the Medal of Honor. Those guys, they don't go out looking for acts of valor or the Purple Heart.
Most of those guys are just out there trying to do the job.
Yeah, and you just chance upon it. It's like, you got on a mission, be like, oh, you know what, today I'm going to go get me a Purple Heart because that's a really good idea.
That's on the docket today. I feel like getting shot.
When you read the stories, most of the time it's like, well, I couldn't think of anything else to do, so I just did this. And
right.
I thought I was going to die, but I didn't.
Okay,
exactly.
So here's my idea. The Westboro Baptist Church.
Oh, God.
You get hit with stolen valor. You are then forced to wear that same uniform that you claim to be a part of, or those medals. And you are forced to stand with the Westboro Baptist Church at one of their protests. But you have to hold up a sign that says, I'm not a real vet, I faked it, and now you're hanging out with Westboro. You're going to feel that guilt and that shame. That person is going to hold their head down and be like, oh, this is not what I...
Wow.
Never again.
I forgot about them guys, man.
The Westboro Baptist Church, again, I'm going to reference Kyle Kinane, who I believe said it best. Westboro Baptist Church is good for one thing, and that is uniting people that you never thought would come under the same banner. Like they were protesting like the LGBT community, and they all stood at a protest against the Westboro, right? But also at the same protest was like Hell's Angels, because they're predominantly a bunch of like Viking like veterans. But I mean, you got these biker veterans, you got the LGBTQ community, like just standing together. Yeah, I hate those guys too. Cute vest. Oh, thank you.
For some reason, this just clicked in my head. The great thing about going into the Air Force Chow Hall from another service was
Candy bars?
You got looked at. You got the stank eye like you were a minority. Really? Am I lying?
No, you're not. I can remember going to those chow halls, man, being like grimy, and they'd be like, oh.
Do you remember? You guys seen that? Remember the original Blues Brothers movie?
Of course.
You remember when Jake and Elwood go into the fancy restaurant?
Yes.
And they're all like looking around, and all the fancy people like, oh.
Yes.
That's pretty much your equivalent, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Jake and Elwood coming back from the field, and the rest is like, assholes. They when we move those gentlemen, they smell bub.
I can't even remember going on to army bases, being overseas,
The smell of the outdoors.
And like some army staff NCO being like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I could see that.
But like, you need fresh clothing and a haircut. And all I want is a hot meal. That's all I want. No, you're not coming in. And it was a Mexican standoff, and shit got gangster really quick. We just leave it at that.
I remember our chow hall in Montana. It had rifle racks in there because on-duty guys, like from my MOS, for the guys that were working base side or the law enforcement section there, if they were on duty, they could go into the chow hall, but they had to rack their rifle. They still had their sidearm, but they were allowed to put their rifle down in there and lock it in place. I remember seeing like guys when they would come in there though, and they were armed up. People were like, "Oh goodness!" I'm like, "They're on our side. Those are our dudes."
Man, if that rifle would have been locked and I would have went in there, that rifle would have been mine. Because gear drift is a gift. What?
Yes.
True statement.
Yeah. Listen, man, there's a statement in the Marine Corps. There's only one thief in the Marine Corps. Everybody else is just trying to acquire their shit back.
Yes.
You know?
I have heard that. Oh, God. I remember somebody stole my fucking PT gear when I was in Texas.
What?
Yeah, because they lost theirs. Somebody stole my shit, and I had to root through a trash bag
I mean,
that had this old PT gear in it of mine that hadn't got to the wash yet, and it was sweat soaked, and so it had baked in this trash bag, and it was like the old grays, the old like just a t-shirt and the t-shirt and like the Air Force Ranger panties, and I put them shits on, and they were like green. Something was growing on them. I had to run in the. I started off in the front of the formation for this PT run, and you could hear people behind me go, "What the fuck is that smell?" And they're like, "Sullivan, get your ass in the back." And I said, "Okay." And I trotted to the back because it just I could smell it. And I was technically, my face was in front of it.
And couldn't that dude went to the PX?
No, because we were at Bullis. We're at the Army post. There was nothing out there. It was just these hutmans in the woods. But we did have, man, the chow hall they had there. You want to talk about fancy? I called it like the doo-wop cafe. Like it was like the black and white tiles in there, like the little, about 4 foot up, had the little micro tiles in there. It looked like Happy Days.
Oh, man.
And they had this little Asian dude that worked in there.
You do know that Happy Days was not doo-wop, right?
Well, I mean, it was that style. It was that, the Fonzie and the Greasers and, that era kind of feel to it. You just had that real, like, Happy Days feel to it.
Okay.
But anyway, there was always this little Asian guy, and I can't ever remember his name. But every time you'd leave, like, you ever seen the movie Idiocracy where the big fat guy's like, "Welcome to Costco, I love you"?
Yes.
It was kind of like that. Like, you'd, like, beep through at the end of your line after you got your food, and you'd be like, "May the Air Force be with you." Beep. "May the Air Force be with you." Beep. And he just, like, had this sad, just dead stare in his eyes. Just, "May the Air Force be with you." I'm like, "Thank you, man. You made my day." Like,
I think that's a majority of like chow hall workers.
Really?
Yeah, like they're all like
We had a
ID.
We had a civilian in our chow hall, and you'd give your social, right? And she'd write it down, and that woman could tell you where you were born at.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, "What?"
And then buy homes with your.
Yeah.
This woman probably had hundreds of people's social
Probably.
security number.
Oh, is that why she was driving a Lamborghini?
She wouldn't know your name, but she'd see you and be like 3329. How you doing?
Oh, real quick. Has anybody here ever, like, I'm guessing most of us in this room have had.
A hemorrhoid.
I was going to say identity theft, but yes, I've had one of those as
No,
well.
not yet that I know of.
You
But
have?
As soon as
Not-
I say
no,
that.
You?
I mean, I've had my credit card stolen a couple
Oh,
times.
shit. You guys haven't had the gift then. My
No.
security clearance was high up enough to where I got the letter from the hack, like for the OPM hack, where the Chinese had stolen all my information. Like they had my dental records.
I happen to know what your security clearance is. It was probably the size of a novel.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, okay. We'll ignore that. We can't really talk about a lot of that. But I got a phone call a few years ago.
This chair sucks, by the way.
It does. I'm sorry. We're going to get another one here eventually.
This was nice.
You pretty much, okay, the rule with the chairs is there's my chair and then there's like the normal co-host / interview chair.
Man, I'm fixing to buy you a chair,
You
dog.
got to like Debo that chair. Like most people run in and be like, "Oh, that's the good chair."
No, man, I know my role. But continue, please,
Okay.
River.
So I got this phone call. They're like, "Hey, Mr. Sullivan." I said, "Yeah, this is so-and-so with LifeLock through the DOD." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, what's up?" "Hey, you're not trying to buy a boat right now, are you?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, apparently somebody borrowed against your social security number here and is trying to finance a boat, like a frigate out of Mogadishu."
Damn.
I just kind of froze and I went, "Is my credit that good? Can I get a frigate?" He's like, "This is a serious matter, Mr. Sullivan." I said, "Look, man, I believe you. I'm just saying, one, it's not me, but two, if my credit is good enough, fuck it, run it. Because then I'm gonna go be the captain. All right, it's my boat. That's Sullivan's boat. He's running it.
I would show you the way.
Captain Sullivan. Oh, my
Oh,
God.
man, look at
Oh my God.
Oh, man, I could go soon. Well, waiting for some walls to get kicked in. Nope, we're good.
All right, we're good.
All right, we're good.
Oh, all right.
I got you, dog. I'm here for you.
So it seems that a lot of us here, with all of the experiences that we've had, there are different walks of life in the different branches of the military and all the different ways that we've served. There's a lot of things that float around out there that a lot of veterans have been putting out. And one of those things that really gets put out there a lot is self-help books, usually veteran written. And judging by the tremolo and the low tones in Mr. Hollow's voice, I feel like he has somewhat of an opinion on that.
Yes, that's why I'm here today.
Send it.
So,
Your thoughts?
I think the reason why I have such a big problem with this is because I wasn't that smart to get in on this bandwagon or to capitalize on someone, right? So all of us in this room, we all know about small leadership tactics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or we were all non-commissioned officers or staff commissioned officers. I know at least one of us, maybe. Oh, very well then. So this is what it all boils down to. You're either born a leader or you're never going to be a leader. You're going to be a follower. So the vast majority of these books written by, I don't know, very influential people out there in spec ops teams or, naval commanders, we'll just say, that got yelled at because the book was pretty much just about him. And then he had to rewrite the book. But whatever. Who am I? They pretty much, 30 pages of the book is about leadership. The rest of the book is about other things. It's about a combat story. Everything else, all you got to do is download a tactical manual, and this is how you learn how to lead. And these guys are millionaires now.
Yeah.
And what is it, like Fortune 500 companies are paying these guys to come in and dissect their companies. And like the corporation that I work for is literally like, here you go. Read this book. I read it. Guess what? I literally was taught all those things in small leadership tactics. This is how you control a squad. Or this is how you control a gun
So it was
team.
really nothing groundbreaking in your opinion. Now, there are other people, though, that never had that.
Right. There are none. I don't disagree with what they're writing when it comes to the tactics because, some people need it. But you're either a leader or you're not, man. That's what it boils down to. But the problem that I have with it is, why are we including the people that have went to Valhalla in it? That's what's selling the books. And that's what I don't agree with. I'm pretty sure everybody out there in the wonderful digital world knows what I'm talking about. And I'm okay with my door getting kicked in. I'm good with it. I don't agree with it, man.
Yeah.
So I'll just leave it there.
Okay.
It rubs me the wrong way because I could write that book because one of my brothers passed in the GAN, and he was one of the first ones. But that's not the way that me and my brothers do things. I'll just...
You're saying it seems like people are making money off the backs of fallen.
Right.
Yeah, I can agree with what you're saying here about like people making money off these books. I mean, there are some military leadership books that were written. I'm not going to mention any real names on like authorships or anything like that, but I had a supervisor in my last few years of active. He had been an NCO for a while and was a supervisor, and then all of a sudden started reading this book called No Excuse Leadership, which in my opinion was one of the worst books I'd ever heard of in my life. Because no matter what happened, it was always no excuse. It was like, why'd you do this? Why were you late for this? No excuse. Like paperwork, LORs, LOCs, LOAs,
Right.
whatever. And
that's when you shit your pants and show them your underwear.
I disagree with anything like that. Like you said, if you're a leader, if you know how to lead people, if you're going to look in a book for leadership, you should already have that basic skill set within you.
Absolutely.
And that book, or any of these books, or any of the multitude of books that you want to read, should just be kind of like, you already have the knife, the blade that is your leadership. And this should just be to hone that blade to make it sharper and more effective. A lot of people are going in that get a leadership position that I've seen, and it's just like a blunt stick, and then they're like trying to sharpen it with a piece or like gravel.
Right.
You know, I'm gonna make it work. You know, no, if you don't have it in you, you don't have it in you, and there's nothing wrong with that. The hardest part, though, is for people that are not built to be a leader. They won't admit it, because if you're not a good leader or if you're not a good supervisor of people, nobody's gonna admit that they suck. Nobody's gonna.
But it's okay to be a supervisor that is not good, because if the ones that follow you know that, that's okay. They will help you along the way. I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
And it truly does work. You know, there's books out there that says leadership up the chain of command, you know, and let's say you guys are my chain of command,
mm-hmm.
and things aren't going right up and top. So I'm trying to lead up to you guys to give you the ideas up.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the things that I learned along the way, but it's in a book, and it actually does work. And I wish that in some job fields, they would actually listen. In some of these job fields, they actually might have read these books.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I know that there are some jobs I've seen that are out there that when they advertise or when they say, you know, you need to read this book, it's almost a prerequisite now for some jobs to read certain leadership books. And whether or not that book is proven or whether it's just the employer and that's their personal favorite, and they like, hey, it made me successful, so you guys need to read this too. I mean, double-edged sword. Hey, if it's worked for this person and they believe that it's going to work for these other people, I like that, because to me that tells me that's somewhat, whether this person's a good leader or not, they're actually trying to pass along the things that they've learned to make people better. Because if that made them better, they feel like it can work for them. But these leadership books are not a panacea. They're not a one-size-fits-all.
No. But if
there's so many of them out there, you never know. Like they could work,
but if you preach by that book, you need to actually do by that book.
Yeah, do not the what does they say? Do as I say, not how I do.
Right.
I knew a lot of guys that operated that way, and then no, like good leadership in my opinion is, for me, that was pretty much a nobody in the military, and I eventually got my own. You know, I became a supervisor.
I never wanted to be a supervisor.
I didn't either. I was pretty much forced to go. They're like, no, you're going to leadership training. You're going to school. So
right.
I don't want to. Well, you're gonna.
It just happened for me, I guess. You know, it just fell upon me, just because of my personality, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that was the same with me, because people followed me a little bit. Like,
right.
Because I got along with people. I'm a people person for the most part.
I don't really think I'm a people person.
Oh.
You know.
You are.
Yeah.
You just don't know it, or you don't want to admit it. And it's not all people.
No
people. There's not one people person that's an all people person.
You either like me or you want to stab me in the back.
Well, I mean, when I first met you, a lot of people I know were like, I can't stand that guy, fucking Hollow. Fuck that guy. I was like, you don't understand him. I've worked with 2 or 3 guys that have your personality type in the military. And the first guy I met, I was like, he's a fucking dickbag. Then you get to know him, you're like, oh, that's just how they are.
Yeah.
Once you have to be able to accept how people are. We can't all just be sunshine, rainbows, and lollipops. And
man.
You treat me how I treat you, and it's the golden rule. And no, it's
no, man.
If we all are going to be individual snowflakes, then we need to not be as fragile as a snowflake.
Man, I come out
but accept that we're all individuals.
I like to put it like this: I come out like Wyatt Earp coming around the corner with my 6-gun blazing.
I thought you were going to reference like the train station grinding the spur off. What's his face's cheek? Tell him hell's coming with me.
Oh, that's a good one. No,
this is my favorite part of the movie.
There's so many good parts, but you're right, man.
Ike, that was his name.
I wasn't a good leader at all. I mean, I didn't lose anybody, and I accomplished the mission with minimal incidents, but leadership sucks.
Well, it's because you have to weigh the decisions that you make versus on top of what comes out afterwards.
But I mean, being responsible, even for just a few troops, like their life, not to mention the mission itself, like that, man.
Mm-hmm.
It does. It weighs heavy on you, especially at a young age,
Yeah.
Especially, like me, I was 19 and I fell into that leadership role at like 20-ish in running small team tactics, man, and having my guys underneath me. And I can sending them home hurt. I never lost anybody, but I can remember sending them home injured. And it, to this day, it weighs on me. And we are tight like a family, but wow, I was the last one to get sent home.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, man, it's crazy. And we were all going to stay in. Look at me now. And now I'm the devil in disguise.
Well, for me is 2 days from now, actually, Cinco de Mayo, is the anniversary for me, was the one troop that I'd lost. And we lost him stateside. He got shot by another guy that was in our squad. And we were all having like a barbecue at my duty station there off base at a buddy's house. And the dude had a gun, and he got blown up in an IED, and it really messed with him. And I told him, I said, hey man, we're having a good time. Let's just put that away. We took the gun, stripped his ammo from him. I said, I'm not going to ask you to surrender your sidearm, but give me the ammo. He said, okay. So I remember it was 20, 30 minutes later, I go across the yard to check the barbecue, and then bam, shot. So I look over and I see that the guy that had the gun, somehow he got more ammo. I don't know how. I'm pretty sure that he had another mag in his sock. Like,
makes sense.
You know. Well, he was fucking around with it. He had too much to drink, I guess, and just wasn't thinking. Shot this kid point blank, and it was like a 40 cal hollow point. And like, I remember every detail of it to this day. It hit him right around the kidney. Kidney exploded. It bounced off into the spine, and then he went down. And the kid that shot him like caught him before he fell and like, you know, held on to him. And I had this gray Dickie T-shirt button-up shirt that I think I still have it to this day. We use it as gauze. And it was like, it's okay, it's all right, everything will be fine. And then I remember he threw up a little bit, and the fucking last thing this guy said was he grabbed the guy that shot him. And he said, it's all right, you son of a bitch, I forgive you. Like, to this day, that still resonates with me. It still messes with me a little bit. It took the one thing, like, when you lose somebody, there is what they call that survivor's guilt, whether it be through, duty, off duty, or just in your daily life, that there were things that resonate with me that you'll never stop thinking about. Because I remember where we were at. We were probably a mile from the hospital. We called an ambulance, dialed 911 and everything. It took the paramedics almost 45 minutes to get there.
Yeah.
And then they scooped him up. We get scooped up by the police to go down to the station, give our statements. I gave my statement about everything that happened, and we walked outside, and I'm smoking a cigarette. And I mean, I'm like chain smoking at this point. And I remember that one of the detectives came out and he said, hey, that young man, he passed. And I was like, I blacked out. I think I got into a fight with a dumpster, and a buddy of mine scooped me up off the ground. I was a hot mess. But you learn from that. I mean, it sucks to talk about these things, and I don't know about the guys that put these leadership books out. But the one thing I've learned is, with the things that I've gone through, especially just for people with military experiences, these veterans groups. Those are the bread and butter. Those are the things that I've been to a few of these groups that I believe will teach you more about leadership and learning and being able to adapt and survive and do better in society and as a person, is those groups than any other fucking book.
You don't know what I've seen, dog.
See, that's the thing. Like a lot of people, man, you don't know what I've seen. Look, we all have a story. We all have seen different things. We've all been different places.
I had to get off the heaviness, man.
Huh?
I had to get off that heaviness.
I appreciate it. I didn't mean for it to get so heavy. That's the beauty of the show, is wherever we steer the ship, is we throw the wheel one way, and wherever the tide takes us is where we end up. But yeah, I mean, overall, all I'm saying is, talking about the bad things that happen, you feel better afterwards.
You always do, man.
It's not easy to talk about that. It's definitely easier than when it happened.
Yeah.
But afterwards, you feel lighter, because there is that burden that veterans we get. We have those burdens that we carry with us, and it feels good to lighten the load from time to time.
That's why I think my old lady, man, she's definitely my rock.
Mm-hmm.
Without her, I wouldn't be anything that I am today. I wouldn't be where I'm at without her, because she's made me open up about these things, right? Because everybody needs that rock in their life. No matter if it was stateside or Oconus, whatever it was, man, we have to talk about it. If you bottle it up like I did for years, it'll eat you alive.
You're gonna either implode or explode.
Right. And
Both are bad.
I was imploding, man. It was ruining me. But I love that woman, everything about her. So, love you, babe.
I'm pretty much in the same situation. Not necessarily like I never really talk to my wife about it much, just because I just don't like to do that. But through all the time that I was gone, like, she single-handedly managed our family.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know where I would be financially, or like there's no words. You know what I mean? Like, and one of the side effects from that is when you come back, like, readjusting into things. Like, I know that's like everybody beats that dead horse, but like, all of a sudden you're dealing with a wife that's managed a household through numerous tours, managed the children, has been involved in every aspect of family life that you've missed, and like, you try to like just slide right in there and take control.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, mom ain't having that.
No, man.
I know my
She's like,
brother had
nah,
that.
you give me the checkbook.
Right.
Which is a good thing if she's responsible, which she is,
It was like I was telling you today, River. I was standing there unloading the back of the pick-me-up truck, and out of nowhere, man, an A10 drops out of nowhere. Didn't even hear her coming in, man. And it was like that.
Yeah.
I went somewhere. Don't know where I went, man. And
I get like that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no,
Go ahead.
and she was right there for me when I snapped back into it. And I had that moment. I broke down. And I'm okay with saying it, man.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, it's okay. You're stateside. You're with me. But however long that I was not stateside, it was me back. And I'm like, Mother of God.
Yeah.
I was like, I hate my life. Thank you, Marine Corps. But go ahead, Scott.
I get like that with helicopters, but like, not. It doesn't like trigger me and put me back there, but like, for like a half second, I'm instantly on alert. And the strange thing about it is, like, it's not necessarily anything combat related, just the nature of the job I did at the time. You had to stay alert for helicopters, because if our boss came back early, which we, he tended to do a lot sometimes, depending on which boss it was. If you weren't there, if you didn't have a team there on that LZ security, you're in trouble. Those aren't good enough words to describe that. You know what I mean?
That's a true statement too, man.
So, if we heard a bird, we would go running across the fog, like literally, like sprinting in gear. Show up. Oh, it's not him. Never mind.
Oh, man.
I would go out there hours ahead of his schedule just to make sure. But anyway, long story short, and I'm 99% accuracy. I can actually tell when it's a Black Hawk.
You can tell by that rotor.
Yeah.
See, the old Crash Hawk has like,
Me.
it's like a higher whir or something to it.
You don't really see many Chinooks flying around, but like Black Hawks, like, I'll hear it and I'll perk up instantly.
I can tell the difference between like a Black Hawk, Cobra, an Apache, an Osprey, man. It's just, and then I can tell the difference what type of jet or plane it is.
Now that I can't do. I mean, you can normally tell if it's a fast mover, but it's got to the point where my neighbor, and you guys all know this guy from another job, like, he works in flight ops with the National Guard, and like, I'm sure he gets tired of me. Like, as soon as I hear something, hey, is that one of your guys' birds? What bird is that? What's going on?
Yeah.
Man, I didn't think about it until now. But fireworks is my thing.
I'm good with it, man.
Those never did.
No,
bother
it was
me.
like, it was just for me. There was a shell that went off When I got out, I was in Ohio for a little bit selling Kirby vacuum cleaners.
Oh, man.
Ended up going to a Reds game and was walking out of there, and just like a single burst went off. It was the after game fireworks display, which we didn't stay for. But I felt stupid about it afterwards because I was like, that of all the places that you hear about people going back to, I snapped back to a barbecue.
Really?
Hearing that shell, that was that gunshot.
Wow. Yeah, I can see that, man.
You know, it snapped me back in that because I wasn't ready. Like, it just happened. And then ever since that.
See, we're about ready to hit another tangent. This is the PTSD tangent. PTSD is different for every individual.
Yeah.
You know, yours is that moment. But mine is a different moment.
You know how I apparently, that's what dawned on me just now was how I keep from that happening. Every year for the Sullivan family's 4th of July celebration, I always get all the fireworks. I'm the one that wires them up. I'm the one that sets them off because I know I'm in control of that and I can see it. So I'm not surprised by it.
I'm right there with you.
And I have no issues whenever I do that. Like I wired up a bunch of those handheld Roman candles, have like 300 shots in them. I wired up like 6 of them on a stick and like held it up. It was like a damn minigun. It looked like an M134, just super cool. I got photos, but nobody took a video of that. I was pretty upset because I was screaming America the whole time. I was like, America, you know, just loving it. But yeah, it's as long as I guess I'm in control of that.
Yeah,
those explosives, I'm good with it.
It affects everybody a different way, man. Once again, you don't know what I've seen.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Guy.
You don't know the things I've done.
Oh, man. Rambo.
I finally watched Last Blood.
Did it let you down?
A little bit.
Yeah. Let me down, too.
A little bit, because there was some, for a Stallone movie, like since he produces and pretty much writes all of them, he normally does a pretty good job at it. But this one, there was some gaping plot holes.
Like, what type of man has, like, tunnels?
And claymores and a bunch of 50s, just like 50 rounds. I'm like, I mean, I get it, he's Rambo, but I figured if they just had like a source as to where one got his munitions, and 2, why he was digging the tunnels, because he touched on it very briefly.
He wasn't a tunnel rat.
Well, he was,
but he did that tunnel thing in one of the Rambos, but he's not like a tunnel rat.
But it's what kept him busy. He's just like, I like to dig. He just likes to make tunnels. Like if they touched on that a little more than I like to dig. Like, come on.
But like where he's at, I mean, that's not good digging ground. I don't know, man. I've never lived in that area. What do I know? I'm not an expert.
Do you think he was really a coyote?
Probably not.
I mean, I'm just saying because the coyotes and everything, because they were right there at the Mexico border, and he had a tunnel system.
Maybe.
Come on. Well, all right, guys. It looks like we're all out of time here for this episode of This Evening Tonight. We hope you guys enjoyed everything that it is that we had here to talk about tonight. We'll also include the descriptions and links for the coffee that we drank on this episode here in the description below. Don't forget to check out all the other different ways you can listen. We're also on iHeart Radio, Stitcher, Spotify, Sounder, Google Podcast, iTunes. And if you need a little something to watch, like the world-famous BS fireplace crackling in the background that you can sit there on the couch or maybe in your office chair with your significant other, check us right out here on YouTube. But all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for tuning in. And until we see you next time, peace out.
Later.
See ya.